What's up, YouTube? Take it off safe, because you're about to enter the gun vault with Spectre. So you live in California, and you want a good home defense rifle or carbine, and you want to be able to have a detachable magazine, because that's one of the things in California that you can't have on assault rifles. So, what do? Well, there's basically 4 rifles in California that are not assault weapons that you're allowed to have detachable magazines with. One is the Ruger 1022, but let's face it, for home defense, 22 is really not your favorite choice, and it shouldn't be because it doesn't have a lot of stopping power. Next is the M1A, Springfield's the civilian version of the M14. That one's okay, but it's really expensive, starting at $1,600. Your next option is the Ruger Mini 14 and Mini 30, which is okay for home defense, but if you want to use it for any longer range, it's really not the most accurate. This is your 4th one. This is a Benelli MR1 Rifle. It's chambered in 223-556, and this is an option, actually a very good option to use for those in California that can't really have assault weapons. So, let's talk about this rifle. Like I said, it's chambered in 223. This is a Benelli MR1. It's got a 16-inch barrel, and the reason why you can have this and you can have a detachable magazine is because of this guy right here. This stock here, this is a California legal stock. It doesn't have a pistol grip, which makes it legal, and also, if you look, there's no muzzle brake. It's just a pencil barrel. So those are some of the things that make it California legal to have. So you still have to abide by the 10-round magazine cap law, but you can have a detachable magazine, which is here. And for some of you, that might be what you want. Let me start off by saying that this rifle is extremely comfortable to shoot on your shoulder. This stock is Benelli's ComforTech stock, and as you can see, just holding it up to you, it's very comfortable. The recoil, although is the same because it's as an AR-15 because it uses the same cartridge, it's less felt. It absorbs this great. You have a nice soft piece right here for your cheek weld. You got some nice softness right here. It's very comfortable to shoot, and it's very ergonomically sound, more so than AR-15s, definitely. Back here is great. Trigger's great. Talking about the safety, kind of hard to reach. You gotta kind of extend your finger out there, but it's doable. This little doohickey is kind of weird. This is your bolt release, and I'm going to try and do this upside down. I don't want to ruin the sight. So there's the charging handle. There was a snap cap. Don't worry, it's not loaded. Move that back, and you're going to pull this up. There you go. And that's that's kind of your bolt hold open lever and your bolt release at the same time. To release it, you're going to want to pull down. And it's kind of in a weird place because you can't do it like on an AR-15. You just bump it. You kind of have to pull it, and it takes some thought. I think this rifle is generally thought of to be as more of a hunting rifle than a tactical carbine, but it fits the role very well. Let's talk about accuracy. It's very accurate. It's got a 1 in 9 barrel twist, so it fires. It likes to fire the faster, lighter rounds. Maybe I'll roll in some pictures of targets that I have. Basically, at 100 yards, you're looking at, depending on what ammo, if we're using the best match-grade ammo, look for about 1 MOA. And that's basically really all you need for a home defense rifle. Iron sights, it's got a very, very small aperture, very small rear aperture sight, and front post is right here. It's not an adjustable front post. All the adjustability comes from the rear sight. So yeah, there's the, as you can see, there's, let me turn it around so you can see, there's your elevation adjustment, and right in there you can see is your windage adjustment. So the front sight is fixed and everything goes around the rear sight. So just some things about this rifle. Like I said, back here, very ergonomic. Up here though, that little guy, that little gap right there, that bites. I know it sounds weird, but when you shoot that, I'll have to show you maybe a picture of my dad's hand after that bit him. But yeah, it drew some blood. We kind of were trying to figure out if it was from the magazine, because the factory 5-round mag they give you kind of has a little base plate that makes it kind of flush with the gun itself, which, by the way, can accept standard AR-15 mags. There's some things on forums I was looking at on the internet that says it doesn't do very well with PMags, but for me, they've worked fine. And this kind of has a little gap here. And we were trying to figure out, my dad and I, if this was biting here or here, and we determined that it was from here. And it really hurts. So when you shoot, you want to keep your hand up here, not back here. Just a little tip for you there. The field strip on this is very, very complicated compared to the AR-15. You have to unscrew this. This comes off, and once you get this part off, it uses the same inertia-driven system as in the Benelli semi-auto shotgun. So if you're familiar with that, you should be familiar with how to clean that. If you look, this actually looks like a shotgun. I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, "Oh, is that a shotgun?" And they look at the barrel like, "What gauge is that?" But no, this is not a shotgun. They're surprised because it looks almost exactly like Benelli's shotguns, which it should, because it uses the same trigger, same stock, and the same bolt action as the Supernova. So if you own a Supernova and you own one of these, you should definitely know how to take it apart, because they're basically from here back the same rifle. Accessory rails, it's got a Picatinny rail up top, which is mounted to a StrikeFire Vortex sight. By the way, I love this sight. Look for a separate review on it. That cap's loose. Unfortunately, you can't co-witness the sights. But what's cool is you can see the sights through. I don't know if you can see, but there is a hole in the mount for this optic, and you can see the sights through that hole, which I don't think was a design part on Benelli's part or by Vortex sights. It just happens to work, and it works good because if your optic goes down, they're kind of your backup sights, which is nice. You can also mount, I don't know if you can see that there, you can mount a tri-rail that Benelli will sell you, and there's a mount there and a mount on that side. You kind of clamp it down, and it gives you about a rail that's about yay big on the front, the bottom, and the other side. And it's about $80 and really expensive. Benelli's kind of got you by the balls on that one because they're the only ones that sell that, and so they're gonna of course charge you a higher price, but you know, that's the way it is. So, and then you can mount your grip or your flashlight, but for a grip, this is, if you want to have a grip here, it's pretty far forward. I mean, if you're a big guy, then maybe that can be for you, but for me, just holding it here is good. Like I said, don't hold it here, it bites. If you notice that there is a magazine release on each side, there's one here that you certainly won't be able to reach from here. You have to physically come up and push the button there, or you can use your other hand, which is, I think, is fastest, there. So let's talk about detachable magazine, because that may be the key for you wanting to buy this gun, is that it has a detachable magazine, and if you bought an AR-15, you're going to have to use a bullet button. So I'm going to roll in my AR-15, Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Tactical. I don't know if you can see that too well. Let me take down the bipod. As you can see, there is the bullet button right there. So you might think that this one is faster to switch magazines than this one, and you'd be false. Although you need a bullet or a tool to use this one, if you do have one, removing the magazine is much less awkward. I don't really know how to describe it to you. Let me get this out of the way. Removing the magazine from this is a little awkward when you're shooting, because you kind of have to now that it's loosened up, it's a little bit better, but before it was kind of stiff. But it's kind of weird, because it's not really a button, it's kind of like a lever on this side. You know, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's poorly designed, but if you're thinking of, you know, spending your money on this as opposed to this just for the magazine, I would definitely stick with this one, just because. So let's talk about the comparison between the two. Not this model specifically, but AR-15s in general. Should you spend your money on this, or should you spend your money on this for a tactical carbine, home defense, WROL rifle? In my opinion, since I bought this, you should buy this one, an AR-15. Why? It's not really a statistic that you can put on paper, but just kind of this one feels better than this one, if that's easier to explain. This one, it's easier to field strip, it's easier to clean, it's just for reference, this is a piston and this is a DI gun. It's easier to clean, although you have to clean it more often. There's more accessory rails. I have so much rail space that I don't even know what to do with it all. You got the adjustable stock, and if worst comes to worst, you can always buy a separate magazine button to put on there, or just buy a regular magazine button, not one that goes over. There's a lot of aftermarket ones that you can just pop on and make it a detachable magazine. If WROL comes out, you can't change this one. You're stuck with this one. So maybe the last point for you will be price. MSRP for this one is $1,300. My dad bought it for $1,300. I think it was $1,295. I bought this one for $1,135. So this one, in fact, is cheaper than this. So again, the trade-off is you have a detachable magazine, but on this one you have the AR platform, the reliability. Not saying that this one isn't reliable. This one's more reliable, in my opinion. And you got all the rail space. You got, you have a longer sight radius. I mean, just comparing the sight radius for iron sights. I have the military, or the Magpul backup sights on this one. And I'm going to line that up. I don't know if you can see that, but the sight radius is about 2 inches short. So if you're going to use it for competition, you always want a longer sight radius. But let me get this one off the table. Overall, if you've got the money and you kind of want a sporter gun, but you don't really want to look too tactical, because I know people that are like that, this is definitely a good option. By the way, there's a sling attachment right here and a swivel point right there. It's a good gun. I don't want to say it's completely reliable. I've had some issues with it feeding. A good tip is when you're letting the bolt go, don't help it home. Because see that like that? There's a snap gap in there. See how it stops like that? And when you want to try and pull it back, you can actually double feed it, and it's just a pain to take out the magazine. So I'm going to drop this really quick. Because it doesn't, it's very weird how it works. You can't just pull the charging handle, tap, rack, bang, and go. You got to kind of take the magazine out, pull it back, let it go forward all the way, pull it back out again, and it kind of takes time. With the AR-15, you just tap, rack, bang. So when you're loading it, pull it back all the way and let it go to make sure that this is closed all the way. And check this, because more times than not, this hasn't been closed all the way. It's been kind of out here a little bit. That's just what I've seen. Would I buy this rifle? No, I wouldn't. But that doesn't mean you don't have a need for it. And you may not want to have a fully on tactical rifle. You may just want to have just this is a better hunting gun definitely than an AR-15 would be. But overall, I would probably give this one so this rifle's a 7 out of 10 for me. If you have the opportunity to shoot one, if you have the opportunity to rent one at your local gun store, go ahead and do that. Always you should before you buy a gun. But like I said, 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Look for more videos in the future. We're going to do probably knives next. So thanks for watching.
Subscribe to Spectacle.